Atlas Reactor looks impressive in its current alpha test, Devilian launches its Fury of the Tempest update, Paragon shows off more fast-paced gameplay, Metal Assault makes a triumphant return, and RuneScape mixes with adventure capitalists?
In the night.
What's happening, guys? James Ballon here with MMOHuts.com, the quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements of the week ending February 22nd, 2016. And starting out the news this week, we've got a sneak peek video for Atlas Reactor, the latest game from Trion Worlds that's essentially an action game and a simultaneous turn-based strategy game all in one. Kinda crazy to think about it, but according to those who have played it so far in its current alpha, going on right now until the 24th, it's shaping up to be the most unique turn-based game out there. Even though the entire game is new, apparently newer content has been added during the alpha, such as a new map, which is less open than the first one, new characters, Rampart and the Gremlins, and perks for each character have been added in as well. I've got to say, for a turn-based strategy game, it looks pretty fast-paced and action-y. Starting to look forward to trying it out. Check out our press preview for the alpha, linked in the description below for more details. Also last week, I mentioned that ASTA is going into open beta test sometime soon, and it turns out I was right. Well, I kind of knew ahead of time, so it wasn't really fair, but after its initial beta test back in November of 2015, ASTA is finally ready to go into its open beta on the 2nd of March. Based on player feedback and in cooperation with Paragon Games, the ASTA team has been focusing their efforts on voiceover recording, progressing the game's translation, and implementing community suggestions prior to the game's release. Just as a reminder, this is the MMORPG that promotes itself as being traditional and the Asian World of Warcraft, so you might have a guess as to what that means. Let's just say we're probably not going to see some Black Desert or Blade and Soul level innovation here. Either way, if you're looking forward to trying it out, you'll get your chance on March 2nd. But speaking of Black Desert, the second closed beta has ended as of today, the 22nd, and it's the final beta phase before the game launches on March 3rd. So if you haven't played it now, you won't have your chance until it launches. For those who pre-ordered the game, depending on the package you purchase, you can start early access on the 28th for the Conqueror's Pack, the most expensive, the 1st for the Explorer's Pack, and the 2nd for the Traveler's Pack. You basically have until the end of the week on the 28th to pre-order the game to get in a few days early. In the meantime, you can pre-download the game if you haven't already, download the character creator, get your characters ready to go, and check out the new opening cinematic trailer you see playing here, featuring the Chocolate Rain singing voice of the internet himself, Tay Zonde.
In the end, there was no one left, and that day was soon forgotten.
On a similar note, and happening basically the same day, Blade and Soul is preparing to launch its second content update called Unchained on March 2nd. Unchained introduces the new Warlock class to the Jin and Lin races, as well as two new environments, the Naryu Labyrinth Dungeon and the 8th floor of Mushin's Tower. As you can tell from the new overview video you see playing here, the Warlock casts mid-range attacks with a focus on snaring, fast combos, and of course, shadow magic. And if that's not enough, they're also able to summon a demonic thrall to finish off their enemies. The Naryu Labyrinth is a new heroic dungeon, available in 4 to 6 player versions, offering a dynamic 3-stage encounter as the challenge factor. Floor 8 of Mushin's Tower, on the other hand, is a new single-player heroic continuation of the tower itself, where players actually have to fight against an ethereal manifestation of Mushin himself. Like always, there's plenty of cool stuff to explore when it comes to Blade and Soul. I just love how the game is getting updated this often already. Now, if you're not spending all your time playing Blade and Soul, you might be playing Devilian. More likely both, if anything. As of this past Thursday, the 18th, the Fury of the Tempest update has gone live, introducing not only the new Tempest class, but 2 new Archdevil dungeons, 4 new standard dungeons, and a 9-player raid. The update launch trailer you see playing here is somewhat short and sweet, unlike the Tempest herself, who can actually slice and dice her way through enemies with 2 different weapons. If you want to know more, head over to the written overview at MMOHuts.com for a detailed breakdown of the new Tempest class. Next up, a new chapter is headed to Age of Wulin in a few weeks. The new expansion is called Chapter 8 Uncharted World and will allow players to explore a new world, as the name implies. 8 new regions to be exact, with 6 secret areas, along with a new game mode and housing system. According to the official post, the new regions will expand the variety and beauty of Age of Wulin as they introduce sun-scorched deserts, stunning and vast grasslands, breathtaking snowy peaks, and mysterious forests of stone. With the new game mode, players will be able to manage characters' constitution, hunger, thirst, body temperature, and much more in order to help them challenge themselves in these uncharted territories. There's plenty more to learn about the new update at the site post, but the new update is set to go live on March 8th. Of course, also going live early March is Path of Exile's new Ascendancy expansion, and this past week, continuing the class reveals, we see an introduction to the Occultist, one of 3 possible Ascendancy class options for the Witch. The Occultist focuses on curses, dark magic, and chaos damage, but of course, isn't limited to just that. Her Forbidden Power skill gives the Occultist a 10% chance to gain a power charge on a critical strike. Profane Bloom empowers the Occultist's curse to cause the enemies to take more damage, and when she slays a cursed enemy, they explode. How nice is that? Wicked Ward increases her maximum energy shield by 100, increases the recharge rate of her shield by 30%, and prevents her energy shield from being interrupted by damage if the recharge began in the past 4 seconds. That's pretty cool. These are just some of the 6 Occultist Ascendancy skills available out of the 18 new skills available for the Witch. Needless to say, there's a lot to look forward to on March 4th when the expansion arrives. We've got a couple of new announcements from Jagex recently. First up, Chronicle RuneScape Legends returns in open beta on March 23rd. And like I mentioned in a past recap, the open beta is set to introduce the 5th playable legend, Venescula, bringing over 40 new cards and a brand new way to play. After playing the game in closed beta, I've got to admit, even though it does look like Hearthstone, well, the cards anyway, in all reality, it couldn't be any more different. Check it out for yourself on the 23rd, especially if you're into RuneScape. But also, if you're into RuneScape and idle clicker type games like Adventure Capitalist, for example, Hyper Hippo and Jagex partnered up recently in development on RuneScape Idle Adventures, a multi-platform game that's set to deliver a miniature RPG experience unlike any other. This game builds on the magic found in Adventure Capitalist, except this time AC's developer adds in the lore and fantasy world of RuneScape. So in this game's case, it is a literal blend of 2 games, unlike Chronicle. Not a lot of details or even a trailer has been released for this new title, so, look at this one and just kind of imagine more RuneScape stuff. But last week, Dizzy PW was at Jagex Studios learning about it, so if you're looking to find out more information, check out the dev interview and announcement post from the links in the description below. This game could be your next addiction. After all, that's what it's designed for. In other news, it looks like a cult classic is back in the picture once again. I'm talking about Metal Assault, now brought to us by IDC/Games. If you didn't know, the game was published in the past by Area Games and was shut down back in 2012, but it's an anime-style 2D shooter in which players play as an ROC operative that has a wide arsenal of weapons, vehicles, and more. The game is both PvP and PvE with a huge clan recruitment system in order to join in with friends. Unfortunately for now, though, the game is only available in Europe and Turkey, so us North American players are going to have to be patient. Hit up their Facebook page from the link in the description below to keep up with the details. Next up, it seems like Hi-Rez is just pumping out weekly patches for Paladins that changes the game quite a bit, like adding in a new winter-themed map called Glacier Keep in the closed beta 15 Winter Wonderland patch. I'm definitely a fan of this new map. I hopped in a couple of days ago to check it out, and due to its size and structure, it makes for the perfect siege mode map, and not a half-bad survival map in my opinion. The new patch also introduces weapon cosmetics, which can be crafted for 1000 CP in the gear crafting section of the vault. These do look nice in my opinion, but I'm surprised they're starting with that route when it comes to customization instead of skins or outfits for the characters themselves. Oh well, in time I suppose. As always, they've added to, taken away from, and tweaked some of the characters for better balancing, of course. Head over to the site post at MMOHuts.com for the official patch notes, along with the patch and map overview videos. Also from Hi-Rez, Smite's latest patch, 3.2, Rolling Thunder, brings in the new mage Raijin, Master of Thunder, the second god introduced from the new Japanese pantheon. Raijin carries 4 drums that gain a static charge with basic attacks and abilities, and once all of his drums are charged, he gains a 30% magical power on his next ability. His abilities are pretty intense, one of which is an alien-esque navel-dwelling ally that not only deals damage by crawling its way out of its target's belly button, that sounds terrible, but also gives your team members the convenience of seeing enemies on the minimap. If that's not enough, his ultimate lets you choose which one of his drums to attack, each one having a different effect, all of them devastating. Pretty cool stuff. Oh, and speaking of which, not sure if you heard this, but Hi-Rez announced Smite is headed to the PS4. Alpha starts really soon, and we've actually got a couple of keys to give you guys if you want to try it out. And by a few, I mean in the single digits for both NA and EU. Head over to the MMOHuts Facebook if you're looking for an alpha key. But finally, for a last bit of news, Paragon hits us with another epic video this past week, showcasing Sparrow and Guardian rushing the enemy core, while Decker rallies support from Steel and Grux to defend. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This game looks super badass. Still can't wait to play it and show you guys. Anyway, guys, that's about it for all the major MMO news and announcements for this week. Like always, if you're looking for more information about the news featured in the recap, check the links in the description below. Otherwise, hang out at MMOHuts.com for the latest in free-to-play gaming and more. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.